to episode 3 of the Bat Flip. We're getting up there in age. Episode 3, another great weekend for the Vols. The Bat Flip. It's the Tennessee Baseball Show exclusively. And I'm Landon Ravy. With me always, Dylan Taylor, Murphy Carlton. I want to thank our sponsors real quick before we get into it. Tennessee Tap House, Hound Dogs, and Blue Water Climate Control. Also, our network, Volunteer Roadshow, do a great job of making the show possible. Thank you for all you do. Let's get into it. It's Vols coming off the sweep and a win on Thursday, so a 6-game win streak. And, another milestone weekend. Coming to the series, or coming to the weekend on an 8-game losing streak to LSU. You get your second sweep over the Tigers in program history. You lost 15 out of the last 16 to them before this weekend. So good to get over the hump. And, here we are talking about a team that's really solidified themselves at the top of the SEC. Right now we're tied for first in the SEC East. 2 walk-offs in one day. You get Sean Hunley is the SEC player or SEC pitcher of the week. Evan Russell with the Golden Spikes Award for his 3 home run performance. He's the 5th player to hit 3 home runs in a game since Cody Hahn did it back in 2009 against Ohio. We'll go Keys, South Little Cherokee alum, Cody Hahn. So I want to mention that in there. So guys, let's get everybody's take on this great weekend to be a Tennessee Vol. Murphy, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean it was a great weekend. You definitely love to see your team get big wins like that. I don't think you could have asked for a more entertaining series, personally. I mean, each game had its special moments and special things about it from the Tennessee perspective. I love seeing the quotes from the LSU head coach. Don't know if you guys saw that today. I'm sure we'll touch on that eventually, but those were interesting to say the least. But yeah, great baseball weekend. If you're not already watching this team, you definitely need to tune in because it's a fun team to watch. And I really wanted to mention the video Vitello did before the series started, asking people to come out to the games. I don't think you're seeing any other head coach of a program anywhere doing things like that. And I just think that that's really awesome for him to do that, to bring some deserved attention to this program, because those guys deserve the whole stadium to be packed because they play their hearts out every single weekend. So, and every weekday as well. So love what we saw out of the Vols this weekend for sure.
Dylan, what you got?
Yeah, I liked what Murphy said. A lot of fun for the home opening SEC series. Always good to beat a SEC rival. Not really as you don't think LSU is much of a rival for the Vols, but in baseball, I mean, with a program that's as rich in tradition and history as they are and recent success, really. I mean, it's fun to win. It's fun to see a Tennessee team winning. So that was my main takeaway. I mean, this team's not scared to play against anybody. It doesn't look like, and I mean, you got Bama coming up this weekend. You got Vanderbilt looming after that. So we're going to learn a lot more about this team. But kind of what we said before, I like the early returns so far.
Yeah, and Murphy, you mentioned Vitello, and I think I said it last week, but this team continues to form as their head coach. They're scrappy, aggressive. They're not scared of the moment. They actually live for it. You saw that with Lipsius. You saw it with Gilbert. You saw it with the double play on Friday night with Max Ferguson and Liam Spence. They thought they had a runner on, and they thought they had a hit, and we kind of just slam the door, and just a great performance. Who's some people that really impressed y'all this week, kind of individually? Dylan, I'll start with you on this one.
For mine, I guess I'm kind of double dipping into what our MVPs, if we talk about them later of the series. It was Chad Dallas to me. I mean, he's kind of the off the radar pick for guys that stood out in a series, especially when you look at like Saturday that had as much offense as it did. You look at Friday night, and I mean, he had 7 innings. I think he had 5 hits, only 1 run given up, and 11 Ks. I mean, from a guy that's not normally really your your lean to on sitting guys down. He's kind of more your steady ace. We've mentioned that before. But Chad Dallas just really impressed me. I mean, I think that game kind of set the tone for the rest of the series. Now, I mean, you had the close call there on Saturday and Sunday, really, but I mean, it's like I said just a minute ago, we kind of wondered how this team would respond with adversity, but Friday night you didn't have any of that. Chad Dallas came out and I mean, he dominated really over the lineup that had the most home runs in the country, and we saw their power later on. But you didn't see that when Chad Dallas was in there. So big shout out to Cheese.
Cheese, yeah. Murph, who impressed you individually?
I'd have to say the obvious for me was Evan Russell at the plate. I mean, the dude's seeing a beach ball right now, and it's weird that it seems like there's a couple different guys that get hot together at different times. Like certain guys will get hot and then they'll kind of cool off a little bit. Like with Beck at the beginning of the year, he was as hot as they come, and then kind of cooled off a little bit, and then other guys pick up where they left off. So you never really know who's going to get hot with this team, but I think he said it in a quote after that 3 home run game where he said that he's just seeing the ball well, felt comfortable in the box, and put good swings on it. So you love to see that out of him, especially being a senior, being able to lead these young guys. So huge weekend out of him. And then a guy I did want to mention who I really liked what I saw out of in the game this week was Kyle Booker at the plate. Dude's got a really nice swing. I like his mechanics at the plate. Real smooth to the ball, gets the head of the bat out there, and he's great in the outfield defensively as well. So wanted to give him a shout out as well.
Yeah, he definitely turned some heads. I was actually there on Tuesday night, and if somebody's not performing in the outfield, Kyle Booker's right there to take your spot. With that performance on Tuesday, and I like how you mentioned that people kind of pick up. If somebody's not performing, people are there to pick them up. Tennessee's just getting a lot of production from a bunch of different people, and it's not the same guy night in and night out. I think last Tuesday, Trey Lipscomb had a great game. This Tuesday it was Kyle Booker. Jake Rucker had a good game. You saw Lipsius, perform. Evan Russell. Friday night he was. I looked at one point he was batting. His batting average was 160, and then the next night he hits 3 home runs. So any guy has that switch that they can turn it on at any point in time, and I think that's what makes this team so special. And I just love the atmosphere. You talked about Vitello kind of trying to gauge that interest and get more people in the stadium. And man, it's electric. I mean, on that deck on the first baseline, it's lined up shoulder to shoulder all the way down that fence. And the legends of Lindsey Nelson continue to really have a hand in the game. Trey Morgan, I was there Friday night, and Trey Morgan, dude's a stud, but Friday night he just wasn't having it. And, a lot of that had to do with the legends of Lindsey Nelson. As soon as he stepped in the batter's box, they're on him. Every time he took a step, they're on him. And you heard Paul Maneri kind of whine and about the umpires and the calls and Tennessee fans being nasty, but that's if you get opposing head coaches talking about you and complaining about it, you made it. You're there. You're competitive in the SEC, and I think that's what's different. It feels like in the last couple of years, Tennessee's just competitive in the SEC, and you see that a lot with this team. So we'll go MVP. I know we kind of talked about it a little bit, but we'll select an MVP. Murphy, I'll start with you.
I got to go with my man Evan Russell. I mean, dude was seeing it at the plate, put some good swings on it, hit the ball. I think all 3 of his home runs the other night were 100 miles an hour off the bat, so I'll go with Russell.
Okay, Dylan.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say Drew Gilbert, but yeah, I think I've got to go Evan Russell too. Just, I mean, you kind of mentioned it a minute ago with Lipscomb. Like, I know Lipscomb plays a little bit third base, but outfield too. That's a guy that I think we mentioned last show that you see somebody step up like that when one of your guys is struggling and they can take the spot just that quick. You kind of feel bad for Lipscomb a little bit. I mean, he comes out and has the game that he did, and then Evan Russell follows it up with 3 bombs. So, I mean, you kind of feel bad in that sense, but you want the best guy playing. So, I mean, I think the best guy this week was Evan Russell. Hopefully he keeps it up because he's an exciting player to watch. He's like Gilbert. I mean, I know Russell would have the plate stomp every time he hit the home run, which I love to see. I'm sure Paul Maneri doesn't like that kind of stuff in the game, but who cares? Obviously, I mean, he just got swept, so yeah. I'll go Evan Russell.
Who needs class when you're winning baseball games?
Right. I mean, it's another point on that. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but it's
No,
so
you're good.
nice to have fans in the stadium now. I mean, this time last year, who would have imagined the legends of Lindsey Nelson coming out like that? But now, I mean, it just shows the kind of impact that home field advantage. I mean, you kind of question sometimes, with a good team or a great team, like how much does home field advantage really play in? I mean, with a guy like Trey Morgan, I think you saw that on this last weekend. I mean, like you said, he's a stud, but just you're constantly getting annoyed by the fans over there. I mean, I love it. Those guys. I'll go Evan Russell MVP, but the legends of Lindsey Nelson, they're right behind there.
Yeah, I like it. I want to say the broom right here next to me would be the MVP, but I'm gonna go a little different. I'm not even gonna go a player. I'm gonna go Frank Anderson because this pitching staff continues to impress me. And it's not like we have a lighter or a rocker or a pitching staff like Vanderbilt, even a Marceau at LSU who's a stud. Tennessee's got some dudes. I'm not trying to say that, but they don't have, right now they don't really have that solidified ace or a big leaguer, a guy that they think is going to be a first round pick. Maybe Blade Tidwell gets to that point, but right now we're not giving away bases. I think Tennessee only walked 6 batters this whole weekend. So you're throwing strikes and you're letting the defense play behind you. You're giving them a chance. I've just been super impressed with Chad Dallas, Blade Tidwell, even Heflin. I think had 9 strikeouts in like 5 innings. And then Sean Hunley pitched in every single game this past weekend and was SEC co-pitcher of the week, which, whatever. That's that's another discussion for another day. But if you're coming in the 9th and pitching the way he pitched, and and when the game's as tight as it is, I just don't know how you're co-pitcher of the week. But hey, whatever. Right. You got the honor. So I'm gonna go Frank Anderson just because he's got these pitchers. Jake Fitzgibbon had a great game the other night. Only pitched like 3 1/3, I think, but was dominant and just kind of took control over that game on Tuesday night. And that's a freshman that we kind of mentioned 2 freshmen in that game that really were the, I guess, MVPs of that game, and Kyle Booker and Jake Fitzgibbons. So they kind of solidified themselves to get some more playing time. Maybe they get a look on a weekend night or something like that. So biggest strength. This is kind of new. I kind of just put this on you guys, kind of on the spot. So I do apologize, but I do want to mention who, or I do want to kind of get y'all's take on what's Tennessee's biggest strength with this baseball team. Dylan, I'll start with you.
Coaching, I think. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that what's occurred in Lindsey Nelson Stadium the last 3 years is all kind of linked to one man. I mean, you mentioned Frank Anderson too, not doubting him or our boy Kivett, but I mean, you just see not only flipping the talent. I mean, getting guys in that are top prospects now, but getting every position to perform. So I mean, it's you want to go with a player, and I mean, you've seen the lineup can be a strength. You've seen when the lineup's not really there, you can see the starting pitching with Tidwell, Dallas. So, I mean, it's hard to pick just one, but I think I'd have to go coaching, honestly.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with. Murphy, what's your biggest strength for this baseball team?
I was gonna say leadership, just kind of bouncing off of, or picking up where he left off. I think the leadership of this entire program, starting with Vitello and then trickling down through the coaches, is the biggest thing that's led Tennessee to where they are now as a baseball program. But from a baseball standpoint, I'll go I think the biggest strength is the offense because there's just so many different weapons throughout the lineup that you can plug in. I mean, we've talked about a couple of guys here who, if they, maybe were on a different team, they'd be starting every single game during, on weekends. Kyle Booker, Lipscomb, those kind of guys. So you just have a ton of depth. You have a ton of guys stepping up whenever they are needed. And if it's not one guy, it's another guy. So, and that's not to say the pitching isn't a strength. I just think if you look at the team as a whole, the offenses and that lineup is just too dangerous. You're going to have a hard time getting through it from 1 to 9.
Yeah, and kind of, leadership has got to be like, that's the obvious answer. Leadership,
Right.
coaching, it's, what everything else kind of comes from that. I'm going to say this team doesn't shy away from the moment. When adversity hits, when LSU kind of came back, got a lead, Tennessee didn't fold. They weren't scared of LSU when they came in here with Marceau and, Trey Morgan and some of those guys. I think Sean Hunley said it before one game. It was just like, when 3 years ago when I was a freshman, it was like, yeah, it's like, wow, we get to play LSU this weekend. And now it's like, oh yeah, we're playing LSU. Like you're there. Like you've gotten to the point where, everybody's on a level playing field. You're not trying to have your best game and hope, a really good SEC program has a bad day or something like that. So I'm going to go they don't shy away from the moment. They're scrappy. LSU out-hit us in the series 31-20. And, in Saturday's game, they out-hit us 17-10. And Tennessee was still able to come away with a sweep and a victory on Saturday in 11 innings. Thank you, Drew Gilbert, for that. And, you saw the power. They hit 5 home runs, but Tennessee was able to match that and hit 4 of their own. And thank you, Evan Russell, for hitting 3 of those. But, it came. And so you weren't scared of LSU. They are a historic program, but you weren't scared. And I don't think Tennessee's scared of anybody. And I don't think you could say that, 4 or 5 years ago.
No,
so
I mean, I definitely, it's what I kind of mentioned earlier. I think, Landon, you've mentioned it before. The team takes on the personality of their head coach, and I don't think you've ever seen a better example of it than Tony Vitello with this team. I mean, I know Paul Maneri thinks they're a little bit cocky, and maybe they are, but I mean, if you're sweeping SEC series, then you can be as cocky as you want till somebody knocks you off. So
exactly.
I mean, yeah.
So Murphy, do you have anything else to add to any of that?
I mean, I was also going to mention that the team always seems like they are fundamentally sound when it comes to a lot of different aspects of the game, not just in the, when I think of being fundamentally sound, I think of being, out in the field and not making errors, but they just do the right things on the baseball field. And I think that is another thing to go along with the coaching. They have them well prepared each game. They're not going out there not knowing what they need to be doing, what they're expected of. And it just kind of speaks to the leadership of the program. So just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, kind of the difference in this series to me was base runners. We've kind of mentioned how, Tennessee gets a lot of base runners, but, leave a lot of guys on base. And maybe that's going to happen when you draw 19 walks in a series. You're going to leave some guys on base, but the fact that they're able to get deep in counts, I think Marceau, we made them go to the bullpen in the 6th inning. He only got to throw 5 innings. We got his pitch count up. We got him deep into some counts. We got great at bats, drew some walks. We're going to give up some strikeouts in those deep counts, but, we're going to draw some walks, get runners on, and just kind of play small ball from there. And, we have the power to bring those guys around, but we also, can run. We're athletic and, just scrappy. That's the best way to put this team is just scrappy. So heading to Tuscaloosa, gross. But when you see their SEC record, and it's 1-5, so it's not great. But the fact that they played Arkansas and Ole Miss, it's just like, yeah, maybe they're not as bad as their record is, because those are 2 of the top 3 teams in the country. and they did beat. They're on a 5-game losing streak in the SEC. I think they beat Arkansas the first game 16-1. So they have that potential to be a really good baseball team to put up runs. But I think Tennessee's rolling right now, and I just don't see it really slowing down. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, Bama's a solid team. I mean, I think they cracked the top 25 in one of the 15 baseball polls there are out there within the last couple of weeks. I don't remember which one it was, but I feel like I saw them at 23 there for a little bit. But as you said, starting off 1-5, that's not going to keep you around there. I mean, they've got good young players, but I don't think they have the overall experience to hang with us, which feels weird to say because when I think about this Tennessee team, I still think of them, like you said, as a young, scrappy team. But I mean, you've got experience throughout the roster now. So, I mean, no SEC series is ever going to be easy. But I mean, you have to think that this is a series win. I don't know if I'd project a sweep again. I mean,
It'd be nice.
There is, right? Yeah, I mean. 2 SEC sweeps in a row. I mean, who would have thought that under Dave Serrano the last couple of years? So, I mean, it won't be easy, definitely. But I think I think we've got the better lineup. I think we've got the better bullpen and the better starters. So, hopefully that equals a series win.
Murph?
Yeah, I was going to say, on paper, you look like the better team going into Tuscaloosa. So it definitely looks like a series that Tennessee should be able to come out with the win. I think it's all about just riding the confidence and the momentum that you've kind of built up in the last few games you've been playing. You played a really good LSU team really well, swept them, had some interesting games, some fun games. You got a midweek win there this week as well. So just continuing to ride that momentum into this weekend and don't let the foot off the gas. Just continue with that, and you should come out with a series win. Hopefully a sweep, like you said, that'd be nice. But I don't think they'll have any issue with a series win.
Yeah, absolutely. Dub said got to play hard. He also said we sweeping Bama this weekend. We all said that'd be great. But this Bama team is a good baseball team. I think when I forget who released the kind of regional, kind of the NCAA tournament projection, and Tennessee was a host in that, but Alabama was a 3 seed. So it's not like they're a slouch. They're going to be a good baseball team. They just, had a pretty sucky draw of their first couple series. So, yeah, look for a series win this weekend. Guys, do y'all have anything else before we kind of get out of here, wrap this thing up?
I did. I saw the Legends of Lindsey Nelson tweeted out about a couple hours ago that the Florida first baseman had either blocked them on Twitter, something like that, to where they couldn't see it now. So it's good to know the boys are doing the research too, and word is starting to spread already that if there's something you don't want them knowing, you may want to get it off there because it will be used again.
They gave Western Carolina the catcher. He was probably 7 foot tall, and they constantly called that man Sasquatch. To the point where he was like laughing as he was walking to the batter's box. He would just laugh because that's all you can do. But he smoked one, and he kind of hushed them a little bit. He smoked one, and kind of gave them the lead there 2-1. But then it was all Tennessee. But man, they gave him hell. And I'm glad they're on our side because I don't want any part of the Legends of Lindsey Nelson.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen it. I can't remember what school is it. Is it Texas A&M that does the ball count just in a row? That one famous video. I mean, I'm sure y'all have seen it before.
They do that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, I was wondering what all was in the arsenal there. So it's good to know they've got everything down. Yeah,
it's like some of the stuff they say. I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I would just yell that, but hey, they've had a couple beers in them, so just enjoying the atmosphere.
Till somebody stops you, keep rolling with it. It's working, exactly. Obviously.
Yep. Let them be, feeding into that atmosphere, feeding into that momentum. And Murphy, do you have anything else before we head out?
No, I think we've covered it all. I'm interested to see how this Tennessee team's going to, ride that sweep and then the midweek win into Alabama, and hope they can play well and keep that confidence and momentum going.
Absolutely, guys. Well, it was great to see you guys. Y'all take it easy. We really appreciate y'all tuning in. Go Vols, and y'all have a great week.